Employee confidence is slipping in Hong Kong. Compared to the global average, workers here are 9% less positive and 3% more negative about their organization's future. To know more about this, we are joined by Javier Calvar from Ipsos and Dr. Guy Llewellyn from EHL Hospitality Business School. So, why do Hong Kong employees have less confidence in their organization's future compared to global average?
There may be two reasons. One is low trust in business leaders. Only 37% of Hong Kong employees trust business leaders to tell the truth versus an average, global average of 44%. And the other reason may be lack of optimism in the short and midterm future of Hong Kong. We know that optimism in the workplace is closely linked to optimism in the country or territory where the employee operates. And as I said, optimism in the mid-term future for Hong Kong is rather low. Only 1 in 3 Hong Kongers feel positive about the future of Hong Kong versus, again, 44% globally. It's also important to say that Hong Kong is not alone. And other East Asian economies, such as Japan and South Korea, face similar situations.
I think the big issue that the Hong Kong employees have faced is that they've just had a long period of uncertainty, both in the macroeconomics as well as just the political stability. Because if you look about going back all the way to COVID-19, there was a lot of issues that of what's going to happen next, the lockdowns, and then coming out of that, now we're in a global trade discrepancy where things are changing on a day-to-day basis. So it makes employees very wary because they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And they've had years of not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, which makes them very wary. The other issues that Hong Kong employees face is that most organizations have a very hierarchical point of view. So it's very much top down, listen, here's what's going on. And a lot of that is just a need to know basis. And so that organizational strategy, that long-term planning is not really being shared to all of the managers and the frontline employees in that organization. So there's a lot of people that don't have that foresight of where is the company going to go, what is next, and what should they know and be heading. And finally, the issue because of that is that the culture in Hong Kong is not to question, not to ask, not to find out what's going on. So people are just saying, this is what I know and this is what we have to go on, but they don't feel like they have the availability or the resources to say, well, what's next? What is the 5, 10, 15-year structure and goals and vision? And so there's just a lack of transparency within the organizations.
Considering everything that you've just mentioned, what can business leaders in Hong Kong do to improve this?
There are a few things that leaders can do to improve employee confidence. And it starts with creating more positive workplace experiences in relation to leadership, technology, and career progression. So, for example, enhancing communication through town halls, internal newsletters, positioning AI not just as a tool to improve efficiency, but also as a job enhancer tool. Things like, for example, a recognition of contribution made by employees. And that's not necessarily just in financial terms, but public acknowledgement and employee recognition programs. The promotion of well-being in the workplace. Importantly, commitment to Hong Kong through participation in community and local initiatives and advocacy for Hong Kong. And last but not least, keeping a pulse on the finger of employees through regular surveys and the collection of feedback that can be used for continuous improvement.
So the most important thing for business leaders is to create more of a transparent, open relationship with their employees. Share more about that long-term vision. Ask more, get their feedback. Encourage an environment where employees feel comfortable asking questions. Now, whether that's in an anonymous way or putting their names behind it, it's up to the question and up to the person, but they have to be able to have more of a dialogue between those frontline workers and top management so that everybody has that organizational buy-in of knowing what's going to happen next and what's going to go forward. That also includes making sure that there is finances set aside for employee development. So those frontline employees can see a strategic career path within the company. So what can you do for training? What can you do for skill building? Can those mid-level managers be, instead of just being supervisors, can they be then instead coaches of trying to look and have that career? And so once you have that initial promotion, then what you should be doing is trying to decide who are the next few people in line that are going to take over your position. So that way, when you are then promoted again, you have 2 or 3 people that could be ready to fill in. So there needs to be much more of a dialogue and much more of a bottom-up approach of building that teamwork, building that transparency.
So in terms of best practices, what lessons can Hong Kong learn from global organizations with better employee confidence?
Well, Hong Kong is home to some iconic global brands, and global brands that excel at employee engagement have in place some of the things that we just talked about. It's important as well to remember that, as I just said, a fundamental part of employee confidence in the workplace is to do with leadership. And leadership is not just about the size of an organization. Leadership is about competence, it's about passion, and it's about a genuine interest in employees and their needs.
Well, what they really need to look at is embedding the voice of the team into the strategy. So if you don't have that buy-in from the frontline workers, from the mid-level managers and upwards, then you don't have people that are all fighting for that same strategy and that same long-term goals. So they have to really incorporate everybody together. And when they're doing that, it's not just looking at the KPIs that we're traditionally looking at of how much growth are we going to have, what's the cost savings that we're going to have, but they have to start incorporating the people metrics into there. So what are the people thinking of? What's the employee sentiment? Do they feel that they have psychological safety, belonging? Do they feel part of the team? So they have to look beyond that and bring those people in and start caring about those metrics. And that's the only way that the organization in total can keep growing and expanding.
Thank you so much for your time today, Javier and Dr. Guy. Looking forward to having you both back on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Once again, those were Javier Calvar, Head of Customer and Employee Experience at Ipsos, and Dr. Guy Llewellyn, Assistant Professor at EHL Hospitality Business School. For more news, visit hongkongbusiness.hk.